Hi, I'm Abby Platz, and I'm going to speak about the 16-cut sun catcher designed by myself, Nick Barootian, and Outi Persson. Our site is located in Bayview Park, at the southeastern tip of the city of Milwaukee. In fact, only about 20% of the park lies within the boundary of Milwaukee, and the remaining 80% is in St. Francis. Our project is one of 37 installed by Syrup Design studios and scattered around Milwaukee's perimeter. An aspect of our site that is unique is that it not only straddles the city limits, but also the boundary of Lake Michigan, providing pedestrian access to water. On the east side of Bayview Park is a portion of the Oakleaf Trail running north and south, and most people moving through this site location are on the Oakleaf Trail, walking, running, biking, or exercising pets. Very few people step onto the grass or walk east-west through the park. Directly west, across the road from our site, the Convent of the Sisters of St. Francis of Assisi draws a bold contrast with the natural environment of the lakeshore. North of the convent, yet still across from Bayview Park, is a residential neighborhood. Bounded by the lake, the convent, and the private homes, Bayview Park seems less a destination and more a moment of transition, a kind of thoroughfare. The inspiration we leaned on for this project stemmed from 1, the transitional nature of the park visitors, and 2, the natural environment of the park and lakefront. Bayview Park sits on top of a bluff that quickly drops about 60 feet to the beach. To access the beach, there is a steep stairway connection starting on the Oakleaf Trail. Because of the bluff, there is wind on our site. However, large gusts are broken by the dense trees growing on the lakeside. This allowed us to still be able to capture the wind in our design. The beach and surrounding forest is home to a very diverse population of plant and wildlife, and because of this, we were very concerned with and careful not to disturb the ecosystem of the area. Back on top of the bluff, the trees are scattered more sparsely than on the steep edge leading to the lake. This created incredible shadows across the park nearly all day. In order to better understand how to emphasize the shadows of this location, our team conducted a sun study. This helped us determine angles and rotations of our final design. Our observations of the route and activities of most visitors through the site inspired us to also create a design that pulls people off of their normal circulation path and offers a space for repose and contemplation. Stillness of its visitors is an element the site was missing, and we knew that adding this element would stand out and inspire people to reflect on their own busyness and reconnect with the peacefulness of the surrounding nature, that being the slight breeze swaying through the trees, the gentle movement of the sun as it moves from morning to evening, and the faint but still audible to and fro from the lake. Our final design incorporated these inspirations. The design features a series of offset A-frames, which are made from 2x3s that have not been altered in any way except for having been sanded. The decision to keep the wood as minimally processed as possible was chosen to reflect the natural textures already present in the park. This decision also informed the name of our installation, the 16-cut sun catcher, as every material has been manipulated and assembled using a minimal amount of processing. The base of the structure is composed of wood pallets, which sandwich the 2x4 horizontal beams of the A-frames. On top of the pallets lay a single piece of plywood, which allows for a more accessible pathway through the structure and a more comfortable surface for people to sit on. The spaces between the A-frames were offset so that certain bays would be more inviting for seating, with bays towards the end being wider than those in the middle. The addition of fabric in 2 bays added the subtle movement to the structure, while also opening a dialogue for the wind element of the site. The fabric panels are attached to small metal rods in the top, middle, and bottom, which allows for breezes and the occasional gust of wind to activate movement. When there is no wind, the blue underside cannot be seen, and when activated by the wind, the deep blue underside of the panels become unfurled. The angles of the 2x3s, which make up the A-frame, were determined by the altitude of the sun in early December. To realize the point where these pieces cross based on the desired geometry of the A-frames, it was necessary to add an additional 3 feet to the length of each diagonal 2x3. These higher intersection points also enabled people over 6 feet tall to walk through the structure with sufficient headroom. To fuse the A-frame pieces, we selected a method which draws attention to the simplicity of the connections and the minimal alterations present through the structure. Only 3 simple screws are present in each overlapping connection. Because we wanted to create a place for people to interact with by sitting or walking through, it was important that we create sturdy connections between the A-frames. To achieve this, we threaded a small steel rod through the apex of each A-frame. This provided a stable connection, which allows focus to remain on the raw ends of the diagonal posts. The entire piece is situated in such a way that the repeating triangular frames cast exciting shadows on the surface of the base, the fabric features, and the ground. Unfortunately, the time frame for installation was very short, and the day this was set up on was overcast and had almost no wind. But even so, for the time that it was up, it succeeded in momentarily diverting pathway followers from their linear movement and providing a reason to slow down or perhaps even pause, passing through the sun catcher with necessary deliberation, or finding it a bench with a rest-worthy lake view. In its brief stand in Bayview Park, the installation seemed to do what we had hoped, to draw attention to itself, sharpening the observation of passerby, instantaneously returning that captured attention and appreciation to the environment around the lake, the wind, the sun, and the trees, which gave the sun catcher an identity, a purpose, and a momentary home. Thank you for taking the time to review the 16 cut sun catcher, and have a great rest of your day.